You're on.
Welcome to Problem Solver Politics, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Oh, hey, everybody.
And we got all kinds of really fun, cool stuff to talk about today. First on the list for me, Cody, at least, is this wild story coming out of these prisons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I read The Count of Monte Cristo, and I know what lengths a man will go to get out of the clink, all right? But giving yourself coronavirus in order to get out is, I mean, I wouldn't say a new low, because to a certain extent I have a high respect for somebody that does that, but it's indicative of just the strange political times we're in right now. Cody, tell us what's going on.
Well, first thing I want to get to, because this is something that kind of broke in the last couple of days, and then we're going to get to some of the other stuff, but I want to talk about this for a minute. And that is, so Andrew Yang is part of his Humanity Forward endorsement, so we can keep it up with a little bit.
Yeah.
I believe the most recent Humanity Forward endorsements, we didn't do too much stuff for because they were mostly local seats. I believe, like, locally out here, I think he endorsed, I think it was Evan Lowe, who was like an incumbent assembly person.
Yeah.
Nice, but, you know, smaller stuff. However, Andrew Yang did come out with a much bigger endorsement than usual, endorsing Mike Brohire. Even if I hear a name pronounced right, I'll pronounce it wrong. I apologize. For Senate. Now, what makes this interesting is that he is running for Senate in the state of Kentucky against one Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Now, Mitch McConnell has kind of become like for prospective Democratic candidates, for much more good of a reason. I would say, though, that like AOC is for Republican.
Or Nancy Pelosi is for Republicans.
Yeah, let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
You can find
because at least AOC is like fresh-faced, new, and pretty. You know,
I mean,
Mitch
what
and Nancy are
Yeah.
these dinosaurs who've been screwing us for 40 years. At least AOC is
You'll notice Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader, right? Like,
yeah.
Yes, the biggest, like, big players, not just some random congressperson, like big players. Definitely have been there for a while. And we were joking a while ago. It cracks me up. All I hear is Republicans, including Mitch McConnell and his boys, whine and complain about these awful FISA abuses. But if they ever need to pass a law or a bill that increases FISA spying powers, oh, you know Mitch McConnell will be there proving that thing day. They're all lying.
No, it is the single biggest frustration that I have with the Republican Party is both parties have their way that they want to be statists, okay? And what President Bush allowed to be passed in response to 9/11, I have far less of a big problem with the large military response as I do with the now legislatively justified spying on Americans, which is basically what FISA is, okay? And the fact that we didn't learn our lessons and we didn't end up getting rid of that 10 years later, and that they're re-upping this. At this point, it's literally for no good reason. Oh, yeah. There is no logical nor constitutional reason to keep upping this. Now, as an emotional response, doing something stupid as a country or even as a legislative body, I think that's understandable. We're all humans. We make mistakes, even in large groups. But the fact that they re-upped it now that we had a decade or two, let's just say, to think about it, is literally unimaginably bad. It's like, to me, it's akin to saying, oh, yeah, you know, the internment camps that we had for our own citizens of, Japanese descent and heritage, we might need to renew that act. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that just in case, no, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. And anyway, though, I just want to go over this. I don't want to spend too much time because we can spend an hour if we want, but I want to go over this kind of cursory. And just because I want to take a little bit of a look at this. So Andrew Yang did officially announce in concert with Humanity Forward that he would be endorsing a Mike Brohire who is running against Mitch McConnell for Congress or for Senate. Now, we're going to get into a couple other weird things about that in a second. Anyway, I'm going to run through. This is an article from Forward Kentucky, a local Kentucky progressive website. I like using local sources when possible, but most of this is quotes from a press release. So there we go. So anyway. This is a press release from the Brohire campaign saying this marks, referring to the endorsement, a significant step for Yang as an endorsement in a competitive race against a national Democratic establishment backed DSCC endorsed candidate. We'll get into that in a second, what all that mumbo jumbo means. My family and I were inspired by the movement Andrew built, said Lieutenant Colonel Brohire, which is, again, the reason why we're talking about this. I'm fascinated in the fact that, again, I kind of joke, but it's like the Yang 2020 campaign's body's still warm.
Yeah.
And people are like, and people are still saying, I was inspired to run because of it. It's like, dude, you dropped out like a month and a half, 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, and you're inspired to run because of it. Very interesting. Anyway. He goes on to mention Andrew's patience, intellect, sense of humor, and deep passion for helping people. Yet, is not Andrew a great guy? We're honored to have the support of Andrew and his movement in the crucial battle to defeat Mitch McConnell once and for all. And then we'll get to what Yang said in a press release from Yang. So that nearly half of Kentucky children live in a low-income household. The majority of Kentucky residents are living paycheck to paycheck. For many people, the paychecks have stopped coming altogether. Kentucky needs a fighter like Mike. They go on to reference the press release that Yang, Humanity Forward, and Mike Brohire for Senate intend to work hand in hand to deliver Mike through the June 23rd primary in Kentucky and to defeat Mitch McConnell in the fall. I don't want to skip over that first line.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, no, where they say work hand in hand to deliver Mike through the June 23rd primary. This is what I think is interesting. Because I actually saw an article go up. It kind of inspired me to write the title for the stream from the Rolling Stone. I almost wanted to call them the Rolling Stone Post for some reason, but from the Rolling Stone, they put out this headline saying, "Can the Yang Gang take out Mitch McConnell?" That was fascinating. Referencing again Andrew Yang endorsing of Mike Brohire against Mitch McConnell. However, it's kind of a big skip over something. Someone who, and again, like I said, you can go online and you can find the name of who's the Republican who's taken down Dianne Feinstein this time. Let me tell you, they never do, but there's always someone who's going to be the one. Well, the next person up in line to take out Mitch McConnell is, and the reason why I bring this up, actually, let me show this to be a little bit more impactful, perhaps. If you're looking for polls out of Kentucky to see who is going to win this race out of Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
You'll notice that there is, September 27th, I believe, was the last. Oh, here we go. The last major Senate poll I was able to find. It's from February 24th.
Oh, it's been close.
You'll notice, though, the only names that are really on here are McGrath and McConnell.
Oh, yeah.
You wonder, who is McGrath? Really quickly.
Oh, she's the one where he was sitting down, and I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, they were having a debate, and she would refuse to say whether or not she voted for Donald Trump or not, because she knew that it was politically, in terms of political gamesmanship, it was genius, because Mitch McConnell understood so well the independents in his district, well, his state, that he forced her to say whether or not she did or didn't, because he knew that she would lose just enough percentage points if she said she didn't, and she wouldn't respond. And then she tried to say that it was voter intimidation, him asking her on the debate stage if he voted for Trump. It was actually really interesting, an interesting interaction, and he ended up beating her, but it was close.
Yeah,
it was really close.
I think you're talking about someone else. Amy McGrath is the person most recently, I believe, running against Mitch McConnell. And you'll notice in the polls, Amy McGrath's name is the one that comes up time and time again. Who is Amy McGrath? Kind of interesting is that Mike, who's running here, I believe Lieutenant Colonel from the Marines, which I was kind of joking before, but in all seriousness, like if you're a Lieutenant Colonel in the Marines, at least that means the job you had before this, people thought you were good at, right? You got promoted. Like, he wasn't some bum. So it's good to see. However, Amy McGrath, who's being promoted big time as well by the media as the next lady. Same way, go to Breitbart, guarantee you there's a Breitbart piece on whoever's running against AOC as a Republican. But however, I wanted to just keep this in mind that she is currently the highest polling Democrat running. Right? I haven't seen too many. I'll see if I can pull more up. I've been struggling. If you can let me know in chat if you guys have seen this. I've been trying to find primary polls for the Democrats in Kentucky. I haven't found very many, but it is very much worth noting that this, it's kind of one of those things like, what do you know? Defeating Mitch McConnell is kind of like something a lot of parties are interested in. But I don't want to make sure that, because it's in a lot of these articles kind of getting brushed over a little bit, but I do want to make sure that this isn't up, while he's running as Mitch McConnell ultimately, don't get me wrong, there is a primary coming up as well. And I just want to make sure that there's I feel like the title of this video included, right? But if he is going to kind of help get UBI, because that's the biggest thing too here, defeating Mitch McConnell, dude, I think every senator needs to go. I don't care pick one. They need to go, right?
Okay.
The bigger thing is, I like the idea of getting UBI inspired or candidates that do want to push UBI, not only in the House, but in the Senate as well. So obviously one of the reasons why Andrew Yang reached out to endorse him. But I do think it's just kind of one of the things that's going a little bit by the wayside here. and some of the articles I'm seeing that are talking about this race. But remember, like, if you ask a lot of people covering this race, they'll tell you it is a 2-horse race between Amy McGrath and Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
So I do think this is a hurdle that needs to get crossed first, and I would like to see more. I'm going to be honest, don't live in Kentucky, don't know much about it. Like I said, I'd vote Mitch McConnell out in a second, but then guess what? 6 years later, I'm probably voting this person out in a second,
yeah,
too.
See, I was about to say.
I just don't like I don't like these people going to government and misrepresenting. But the larger point here is I think this is I would like to see just more interest and talk. It's one thing to say, oh, you know, can the Yang Gang, again, going back to the Rolling Stone article, can the Yang Gang take down Mitch McConnell? But it's like, and I guess in chat, please tell me how to pronounce his name. I'm butchering it every time. But it's like, well, can Mike Brohire or Bro here? I'm going to get it wrong. Can he beat, is he going to win his primary? And I think, and the reason I bring it up is I would just like to see more interest and support behind that primary. I see a lot, Mitch McConnell gets brought up because obviously it's better for titling, but he has to win the primary to get there. So I do want some people talking about it because it is important we have UBI candidates moving further.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see a UBI candidate going up against Mitch McConnell because honestly, any other kind of candidate, at least for me, would be completely dead in the water, and I'd vote Mitch McConnell over it in a heartbeat because at the end of the day, these two parties are voting as cohesive blocks now. Okay, and you're picking your poison, Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell. You know, and I view the lesser of two evils as Mitch McConnell. Therefore, anybody going up against him, even though I can't stand that Mitch was for the re-upping of the FISA Act, and I can't stand you know, the fact they haven't gotten rid of a lot of these old legacy Iraq war garbage programs that have been super expensive and have basically just been spying on people. Any vote that's not for Mitch McConnell is inherently a vote for Nancy Pelosi. The only people I see is maybe potentially actually bringing a fresh face and fresh ideas to the table is this UBI caucus. So I would be tempted if it weren't too close and I were a actual resident of Kentucky, possibly to vote that way. But under any other situations, not in a heartbeat because it's either Team Pelosi or Team McConnell, and it's the epitome of the lesser of two evils. The epitome.
But what do you like? Honestly, I feel like if you ever,
well, I'm just saying that's what he's going up against. Like he is going up against that, and so how do you pierce through that blanket? How do you pierce through that cloud as a UBI candidate? That's his battle.
But the bigger, like I said, my point though, I'm trying to bring here is we're looking ahead, and I guess thank you in chat, Breuer. I get a million ways to pronounce the names. I'll pick the wrong way every single time.
Breuer.
So Breuer, thank you very much for letting me know. Now the larger thing here I'm trying to bring up though is that this isn't over. It's not like nobody's running against Mitch McConnell yet. Right now we have two Democrats running against each other, and I do think that is something that needs a little bit more discussion. It's one thing to just say, oh, well, they're running against Mitch McConnell. It's like, well, eventually someone is, but who?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Amy McGrath here, or is it going to be Mike Breuer? Who is it going to be? And as far as I tell you one thing, I know Mike Breuer because I follow a lot of the Yang's talking about UBI, big thing, which is what he was talking about. Just following general news stuff, just the general mainstream media. This is the only person running against Mitch McConnell. I think that's a major hurdle that needs to be covered. I just want to see more talk and discussion about what can be done there because the primary, I'm assuming, is coming up.
Yeah,
it has to be soon. And it's going to be big, right? And I think that's it, juxtaposing his name with Mitch McConnell too much. Again, as we did in this video, as you can see in the title, I just don't want people to look ahead of themselves because I do think these races across the country are important for getting UBI candidates moved into higher office, especially Senate over Congress, right? Like a lot of people running Congress. Senate would be great. It's just, remember, there is a primary. Like there is still an election before this one. And again, I'm not going to talk about what can be done to win it, who's winning. I don't live in Kentucky. As far as I know, I don't think I've even spoken with the person who lives in Kentucky in my life. So I'm not going to say what he can or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I just, I'm looking into it, trying to find more info. With the coronavirus, polling in general has been kind of scarcer.
Well, maybe if they start that Midwestern States Pact. What was it? There's the Western States Pact, and then Kentucky had joined that one, like Midwestern States Pact. We should ask what they think. I got family in Arkansas. We'll see what they say regionally. Anyway, I like a couple of comments here. My favorite was Trevor Topic. I mean, I got to tell you right now, Carden the Boomer King is really coming out right now. This is a dad joke on steroids, and I'm loving it. Trevor Topsick says, I like how you said, quote, 2-horse race when Kentucky is known for the Kentucky Derby. Oh, dude, 11 out of 10 dad joke. And then Sly Cactus says, who will defeat Mitch first, elections or father time? I slightly maybe regret nothing. I will say I think fresh wins. I think with Americans, generally fresh wins. If all of the things are considered equal. Okay. So I'm really curious to see how Broyer or Broher or however you pronounce his name. I apologize.
You got it right the first time. I got it wrong. But anyway.
Broyer. Okay. So topic number 2, hit us.
On one last thing. There is, and I failed to mention this, there is an individual named Charles Booker who's also running. But still, it just,
yeah.
We have a tendency to look ahead. Look at the primary, man. Amy McGrath, she's getting a lot of money from people all across the country who don't live in Kentucky to beat Mitch McConnell. It's a big seat. Same way, some Republican gets millions of dollars, or not millions, but some Republican gets donations to run against Nancy Pelosi every, I wanted to say 6 years, but Nancy Pelosi.
No, it's every 2 because she's the House of Representatives.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I'm moving. I want to make sure I want to bring that up. I do think it's cool that it is, we are seeing Andrew Yang endorse a candidate there. I just want to make sure more focus on the task at hand. Anyway, we're going to move forward to something a little bit goofier, but I do think it kind of gets honestly to what UBI is trying to address here. It really does. And it sounds weird, but now I have to admit, I don't know much about D-Zine, but I have seen this story covered in other publications, and this is, as far as I know, a real thing. So let's go to this D-Zine.
It's not just a real thing; it's a really cool thing.
Anyway, so a production club designs which I guess Production Club is a company. They're designing a drink and vape friendly PPE suit for clubbing during a pandemic. Now, this goes back. This article was originally posted late April, so we're going back over a month here. But I want to go through really quick.
Well, before you go through it, for those that are listening on the audio podcast, this literally looks like an Interstellar outfit. It looks like Matthew McConaughey's astronaut outfit on Interstellar for clubbing.
The features on this. But again, I want to run through this for a second because I think it's important to talk about this a little bit. It sounds goofy, but bear with me. So, Creative Studios Production Club has designed a personal protective suit for clubbing in the time of coronavirus, which includes features for phone integration and beverage and vape consumption. Production Club's concept for the personal protective equipment suit, called the Microshell, is designed to offer people a way of safely gathering and partying at gigs and nightclubs during a pandemic. You can see a photo here, and it looks like something that absolutely never in 1,000 years will ever actually exist and find its way to store shelves. Regardless,
what are you talking about?
This will never come out. But listen to some of the features, right?
Oh, I think it could.
Described by the studio as the future of human interaction. Wow, the future. The design compromises an airtight top suit and helmet that covers the hands, arms, upper torso, and head. It has a number of features that cater specifically to its intended party environment, including an in-suit beverage and vape supply system, built-in speakers and God, smartphone. Is it Apple or Android? Which one? As the creators told DAZN, they wanted the suit to be science fiction and more fashionable and approachable. Sure, there's some other absolutely ridiculous stuff in here I want to get to the bottom. I want to mention as well. So the so-called loading chambers positioned on the chest underneath the helmet allow users to safely consume drinks and vape via easy snap sealed canisters that aren't accessible to anyone other than the wearer and the bartender. Thank God the bartender can access my my stuff. And there's one last thing I want to go. Oh, last thing. So an internal speaker system plays live music to its wearer in 3 modes. Dry, which is the direct feed. Wet, as an emulation of the room's sound based on psychoacoustics. I think what they're just trying to say
is if you get closer to the speaker, it gets a little bit louder.
It'll emulate some echo and some stuff like that. Or as they pass through the room via the suit's embedded microphones. Oh, a custom pocket in the suit holds and connects to the user's smartphone to allow them to control certain features via their device. This includes a camera that can be used to take photos and videos. Rows of RGBW, this is superior to the RGB you find in gamer mouse pads, can be customized to act as indicators of the wearer's mood. For example, a rainbow light could express joy, while static red could express the wearer is busy. I think there was one last thing. I don't see it here. Anyway, this sounds like absolutely ridiculous, and it's
what are you talking about? This is awesome.
But what I want to
scary, but awesome.
The reason why I wanted to bring this up though is because I can tell you one thing. Like I said, I don't think we are ever going to actually see that anyone's going to wear that suit in real life because it's just, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's too Real Player One or Ready Player One for you.
It's too goofy, but here's the other thing. Did any of that stuff sound expensive to you? This gigantic.
Yes,
you see, how much do you think that would run? Well, I got a question for you.
Like, how's a college kid get afford a $2,000 suit to be able to go out? Yeah.
How about this? I want to remind people that while there is people out there looking to party.
Dakota Bowman brings up a really good point. What happens when you get sweat? And it gets sweat in your eyes from like when you're dancing. You can't just brush away the sweat in your eyes. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. How about this?
Dakota knows Dakota's clubbing.
There's a record amount of Americans out of work right now who are never going to have to answer that question. You know, that's a problem that millions of Americans who in this age of coronavirus who aren't thinking about how can I vape in the club? Yeah. Oh, God. How am I ever going to be vaping in the club with bottle service again?
Hey, the wealthy will purchase them for when civilization fails.
What I'm saying is, this speaks a lot to me to like the sense that you have companies trying to come up with these ridiculous, futuristic, goofy-looking suits. So you could. I love one of my favorite things is like, what can you do in the suit? Well, you could party, you could dance, you can drink, and you can vape. Thank God. Can I eat?
Ish.
I don't know. Define.
There's probably a straw hole. If you can vape, you could stick a straw in for like a Jamba Juice or some Juice It Up or a smoothie.
But you could just look at this graph. I'm not going to go too far into the story because we can go over unemployment and coronavirus. I'm sure I don't have to tell any of you. Like everyone knows someone impacted by this. Is my point. It's big and it's serious. Here's the graph to see what it looks like, and it just fascinates me, man. There's people that are like, "Yo, but how am I going to vape at EDC this year? Are there even going to be an EDC?" And you hear stories all the time of these rich people, these billionaires, these Silicon Valley execs, these tycoons, and they buy bunkers because they know I'm living ridiculous. Like I'm living an insane life.
And they're coming for me.
But here's the thing.
If society breaks down, they're coming for me.
You know what the irony is?
What?
No, we're not. We're not coming for these people.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
It's their own narcissism making them build that.
And guilt, yeah. But
yeah, narcissism and guilt.
Because, dude, this guy could be living in his Cyberpunk 2077 party suit. I love the picture at the very top. Here we go. You could be living this life, man. You really can. And people aren't going to be, like, rising up to kill you. But you know what? A lot of these people living this life looking around at record unemployment, looking around at, like, businesses closing and never reopening, looking around at what we called in one of our early videos one of the biggest wealth redistributions of all time, where middle-class private business is basically had all their wealth redistributed to Amazon, Walmart. No, we're not going to care. There is going to be the people. They're going to have, thank God, only the bartender can access my specially designed drinking pod on my private suit. We're going to have these people, man, living it. Now, here's the thing. Going back to the suit itself, I just thought it was funny, like, when you talk about, like, you know, wealth inequality is a problem, people say, oh, you think when there's people rocking their specially designed PPE party suit? Like, imagine this. Like, whoa, you have the suit using, like, space-age technology. You got this. What do you use it for?
Bragging rights.
Do you use it for, like, you know, like radioactive?
I use it to go out and make sure I don't even associate with you on a microbial level. Yeah. I go out to show how much better than I am than everybody else, and you can't get me sick. I wear it
so I could sit behind the velvet rope in the bottle section area and just vape my whatever. Like, it cracks me up, the addition of the vape thing. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue, look, man, if you're out dancing around, you're going to sweat. Like someone brought up, you're going to sweat, and you're going to drink some water to rehydrate. I can understand the drink pod. The vape, dude, I'm just looking at this thing, dude. There's no way this thing's going to be cheap. Look at this.
Oh, I don't care about the cheapness. It's about the statement. You're that guy at the party, and all the chicks are going to love you. You know, all the women in the chat right now need to talk about how they would pick up on the guy in this cool suit.
Girls are going to wear them too, dude. Not only for guys. Like, everyone's going to be, but it's just...
Okay, maybe they wouldn't.
It's just so goofy to me. It's so goofy to me that we have times where people are like, wow, I guess I have to just open my business up against the government's wishes and risk going to jail because I can't feed my family anymore. And then there's people who are like, dude, Coachella and EDC got canceled this year. What am I going to do? How am I going to party? How am I going to vape in the clubs during coronavirus? I don't know, man. It really does fascinate me a bit to look at. And I think it's one of those things where I'll be a little bit controversial here. I don't think wealth inequality in and of itself is the worst thing, but I think the optics sometimes are so bad.
Oh, so bad.
They do kind of push
There's
things
a
to a
reason
point.
why Trump can make the commercial,
There's
let them eat ice cream with Nancy Pelosi.
But there's a lot of people who do live, I don't want to say like in a disparaging way, but like maybe simpler lives that require less economic funds, who don't care. They just go about their life. Like, could you believe there's rich people partying somewhere? Like, I don't care, man. This is my life, and I have my family, and I'm fine with it. But then there's the times where you get slapped across the face with what I'm assuming is a thousands and thousands of dollars science fiction suit that lets you vape in a club during coronavirus. I think that is where the optics take over. So anyway, we have a super chat here, $5 from Anastasia's Dad 1.
What up, Anastasia's Dad 1?
Of the Celestial Dragons from the anime one. Exactly, man. You got Celestial anime dragon. You got one piece of costumes, and you got people starving. And it's where that optics and reality do meet. Because for the most part, dude, there's been kings and queens and empire and there's been the
we
very
don't mind
rich
a royal
and
crown.
the very poor forever. Yeah, like not every poor person.
Yeah, it's everybody's fine with the cape and the crown. Everybody's fine with the throne. But when you're saying let them eat cake, that's when it goes overboard. And this kind of is a let them eat cake suit.
It's when I'm starving and my business is shuttered, and this is what people are doing. Like, oh, how am I gonna vape and drink at the club? Like, dude, why don't you just wait? And I don't know. I just think it's funny to go through because this is absurd, man. This is one of the goofiest things I have seen proposed during coronavirus. I mean, I guess check the fit, huh? Would you guys roll out looking like this? Would you roll out looking like this? That's a good question.
Well, I think I would as a statement. Or like once. I would never want to go clubbing in that way because, for example, do you really feel like you know anything about that person other than the fact that they're the person making the statement when you see that kind of suit? This is one of those things I really don't think would catch on. I would be interested in this though, Cody. And this is the last thing I'll say before we wrap up here is see how it's basically accomplished by the head and how it straps on almost like those people that mount GoPros to their chest when they're doing some extreme sports. I would kind of be interested if there was a way for us to not have to not have to stay at home and as part of some kind of social distancing thing, kind of like a headgear like that was 10 times more manageable than these insufferable face masks that we have that could literally just be popped on and was kind of flexible like that. I'd be interested in that. Just throw on some gloves with it. That'd be kind of cool. It's like a glorified face mask from Breaking Bad. I'd be down with that to at least try it out.
But as someone brought up in chat here, I want to make sure I get the right name right. I think it was... Dakota Bowman said a cheaper version of the suit would be good for meatpacking facilities and jobs with lots of people in close quarters.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was about to say,
we should be using this technology to figure out how to get people back to work and how people to live their lives, not so you can party. I agree. Clubbing probably goes to the end of the line. What are we going to do about EDC? Probably goes to the end of the line. And my point exactly, it's the optics of it that are just so crazy. No offense to Productions Club, whoever came up with this. No offense to them, but like, dude, what? Why? Why do we need this? I don't think we need this.
Yeah, last question.
I'm just saying, your average person would rather find a path to reopening clubs than find out how to buy a $10,000 suit to wear it.
Yeah. Last question is Christian Solid asks, is it one size fits all? I hope not.
Oh, it's to be custom made to your
Those
body.
of us, yes. I can't stand one size fits all, except for FlexFit makes the large, extra large, one size fits all, supposedly.
Yeah. Well, just for price reasons. They're definitely going to be like, no, if you want your exclusive clubbing suit, you have to come in.
I assume it's going to be like a wetsuit.
Actually, you can't come in. You'll have to use your iPhone. They'll like biometrically size you. And you'll get the...
That's the way to go.
I'll tell you what, if I'm paying $50,000 for this thing, I don't know how much it's going to cost. It ain't going to be cheap. I'm going to ask for that. Yeah.
So this was real and it was fun. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. This is Problem Solver Politics. We will see you guys in the next live stream.